Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff. In today's video, we are getting a little extra and we are making Stanley tumbler accessories. So if you love your 40-ounce tumbler, or maybe you have a niece or a granddaughter or a sister who does, today's projects are just a way to make it a little bit more fun, and they work really well for stocking stuffers and other small gifts. And I also really like the idea of crafting these along with maybe somebody in your life who loves their Stanley tumbler. So maybe you are a grandma and you have a granddaughter who just loves her tumbler and loves all her little accessories. This could be a really fun project to do together. So all three of these accessories are from PYD Life. They are one of my favorite brands on Amazon to get sublimation blanks from because they generally work really, really well. The three things that we're going to be making today are these cute little charms that you can hang off the handle, these little straw toppers, as well as, if you can see here in the overhead video, these Stanley cup toppers. All of these are really easy to make. However, the cup topper really does need a standard heat press. So I'm going to use my little Maker Flow press here for the charm and for the straw topper. It works just fine. But I have found that when you're making larger acrylic projects, you really do need sort of the big, even pressure of a traditional heat press. So skip this one if you only have a handheld press. You might be able to get away with it if you have like maybe one of the big easy presses and you can get like a lot of weight behind it. But generally, I recommend using a traditional heat press for these larger acrylic projects. Let's take a look at everything I've got here. So to start, I have our three projects. So like I said, I have these cute little, they're like tumbler shaped charms with a little chain. I have our big tumbler topper. Tumbler topper is really difficult to say. And then these straw toppers came in four really cute colors. We have white, pink, teal, and blue. And then there's a little sublimatable disc that goes along with them. You're gonna need that heat press, or the big heat press, which is across the room for me. You're going to need something heavy. So I've got a couple of books here. Acrylic likes to warp after you heat it up, and you're gonna need something heavy to put on top of it so it doesn't warp. You're going to need some butcher paper and some sort of solid pressing surface. So I really like this wool mat I've got here. It's thicker and just sturdier than a traditional Cricut Easy Press mat. And I find that it works a little bit better for sublimation projects. And then it's really helpful to have a weeding hook because we're gonna have to remove a film from some of these, and this just works really well. And then I've already done it, but you may want a pair of scissors to cut your designs out. And then finally, you're going to want some sublimation tape or some heat resistant spray. I prefer the heat resistant spray for acrylic because you can actually get tape marks that kind of embed into the acrylic when you heat it up. So for the two acrylic projects, I'm going to be using the spray, and for our little sublimatable disc for our toppers here, I'm going to be using tape. The images I'm using today are all from Creative Fabrica. They are sort of this hyper girly coquette aesthetic that's really popular right now. I will go ahead and link all of these files down in the description below. I printed off all of these designs on my brother's sublimation printer. I have lots of videos that go into actually how to set up and design files. So for this one, I just went ahead and printed them out at about the size I needed them for these projects. All right, let's start with the easiest project, which are these little straw toppers. All we have here is this little metal disc, and the back is silver and the front is white, and we just need to remove the covering on this white. I have found that a weeding hook is kind of the easiest way to do this. You don't want to scratch the surface, but it's kind of hard to get up otherwise. All right, so you can just peel that off, just like that. Then I'm gonna add a piece of butcher paper to my mat, and I'm going to place my little image here face up, and I'm going to use a little bit of tape to tape my disc to my image with the white side facing down. Then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add another piece of butcher paper, and I'm going to press this at 365 degrees for 60 seconds. All right, while that cools off, let's prepare our little topper. So on the topper itself, there is actually a adhesive disc, but it has a backing on it. So you just need to pull off that backing to reveal the adhesive underneath. Then when your project has cooled a little bit, you can peel it back from your paper. You'll see that sublimated really nicely. The metal is actually pretty hot, so just be careful. It's still too hot to touch. Let's see, if I hold it by the edges, it's not so bad. Then we're just going to stick the disc right in the center, just like that. Super cute, right? You could totally do a name or other image here as well. One thing that I didn't mention when I was setting this up is that you do want to reverse your image for this particular project. Most sublimation projects, you are going to reverse your image, so it doesn't matter as much when you have something like a pattern like these little bows. However, if you have a name or other wording or whatever on here, you'll definitely want to reverse your image before you press it. That's just something I forgot to say in the beginning, but it's really important. And that's because our other two projects, which are not acrylic, are not reversed. We are pressing them from the back. So these are some of those few projects that we just don't mirror our image. Again, it doesn't really matter as much when you're using a pattern like I am. However, if you are using text, then you definitely want to make sure to mirror this one, but not mirror anything that's acrylic here. All right, I have our little tumbler shaped charm. And again, we need to remove the plastic coating off of both of these. Just get underneath there. There we go. And I believe there is a coating on both sides here, yeah. There we go. Then I'll place my image down here on my butcher paper. So there are two sides here. We have our kind of clear see-through side, and then we also have a pure white side, and the white side is the side that we are going to place face down on our image to sublimate. So I'm just going to use a small amount of spray adhesive here on the actual image, and I'm going to place this white side down just like this. Then I'm going to flip the whole thing over because that will make it easier to press. I'm going to add another piece of butcher paper here, and again I'm going to press it for 60 seconds at 365. Now for this one, we do want to place it under a couple of heavy books and allow it to cool. All right, while that cools, let's do our sublimation topper. This one has the same clear sort of side and a very white side. We want to press against that white side. This is actually one where I have already removed the coating, so if you have a coating on it, make sure you remove it. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this here, add a little bit of spray, just like that. And then I want that white side down. Our white side down here. Then I'm going to go over to the other side of my craft room to press this. I'm pressing it for the same amount of time at the same temperature, so 60 seconds at 365. However, I have just really found that that big heat press gets a much more even press on this. So I'm going to go press this with my other press, and then I'm going to stick it under a stack of books to let it cool so that it doesn't warp. All right, this one has been cooling for a minute, so let's go ahead and move it. I have a little bit of adhesive between here, so that's why it's a little sticky. Pull this up, and we have our little charm. Adding the chain is really easy. It has these little claw clips, and you can just clip the first one through the hole, and then it should clip. Let's see. There we go. And then we can clip the second clip around the handle and use the second claw clip to clip it to the ring. So you have your little charm. I know it's a little ridiculous, but this world is ridiculous. So let's go ahead and enjoy it where we can. All right, and I finished my topper here. It turned out perfectly. I love how these sublimate. And now we have 3 accessories for your Stanley tumbler. Like I said, these make great stocking stuffers. They also make really great products at craft fairs. People are always looking for those sort of low-cost items for stocking stuffers, small gifts, those sorts of things. And these can really fall into that category of like, oh, I know somebody who has a Stanley. Let me grab them one of these little gifts. I hope you found this video for making Stanley accessories a little bit ridiculous, but also really fun. If you have any questions about any of these products, please leave those down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like. Follow my channel for more sublimation content. I'll see you next time.